Nobody wants to be sold to anymore. Nobody. So if you don't respect people and show them that it's not just transactional, it's relationship driven, you're going to struggle.
Welcome to the Mastering E-commerce Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Eitan Koter, co-CEO of Vimy. In an era of rising acquisition costs and increased competition, this podcast is dedicated to helping you drive sales, engage customers, and build meaningful communities so you can turn passive visitors into active buyers. Now let's get started with the episode. Hello listeners, welcome to another episode of Mastering E-commerce Marketing. Today I have an incredible guest with me, someone whose journey is nothing short of inspiring. He's a former NFL athlete turned entrepreneur, keynote speaker, business coach, and host of the globally ranked Get Authentic with Marques Ogden podcast. After a successful career in NFL, Marques faced a dramatic fall, losing everything in just 90 days. But instead of giving up, he rebuilt his life and business from the ground up, turning his setbacks into a powerful story of resilience, accountability, and leadership. Today, he helps businesses and individuals navigate challenges, embrace authenticity, and create lasting success. Marques, how are you? Welcome to the show.
How are you, Eitan? I'm doing well, my friend. Everything going all right?
Yes, everything is okay, Marques. And before we start, I would love to learn from you, what are the three words that best describe what matters for you most?
Alignment, respect, values.
Wow. Can you please elaborate? Because this is a nice combination.
So alignment is something I really believe, because if you're not aligned with who you are as a person, if you're not aligned to what you want to do, who you want to be, where you want to go in your life, you'll never get there.
Got it.
Never.
So it's like acceptance of yourself, right? Who you are right now, where you want to go.
It's time, I'm gonna put it like this: be aligned with your true self.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta be aligned with your true self. You know, you gotta really be aligned. If you're not aligned with your true self, my friend, you are going to end up living a unfulfilled life. It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Right? So then the next one, we talk about like respect, right? You know, if you don't respect people, if you don't learn how to, show others that you really do care about them, if all you care about is you, money, dot, if that's all you care about, you're going to get found out. So for example, right, Tom, I had an old client reach out to me because someone that I know was trying to work with them. And it said, Marques, that person came across very pushy. He came across very it's like I'm doing him a favor by hiring him. And I said, well, what does that person say that they do for me? And they told me, I said, well, no. They don't do that for me. They help me in other areas. And I said, Doc, his name was Dr. Hutchinson, what are you looking for? And he told me, I said, well, Doc, I can help you with that without any problem. I can help you do that. And so he hired me to do that for him, paid me $5,000. And then I talked to him Monday of this week, right at the time. I said, oh, by the way, you should sponsor our podcast, because the problem you have, our podcast can help you. And I showed him respect. He said, Marques, I'm in. Charged another $5,000. So I made $10,000 from him in a matter of like 48 hours of working 48 hours. I tell people, right, Tom, that's the whole thing. Nobody wants to be sold to anymore. Nobody. So if you don't respect people and show them that it's not just transactional, it's relationship driven, you're going to struggle.
Important.
You're going to struggle.
Yeah.
And then the last one is values, right? What do you believe in at your core? I actually was doing this yesterday. I'm listening to Darren Hardy's Success Handbook audiobook. And, the 5 things that I wrote down, I don't remember all of them in this order, but I talked about 5 values that I want our company to be built off of: respect, teamwork, asking for help. There's 2 more, right? And I wrote these down. I'm going to share with our team on this next month on our quarterly review call as a team. I talk to everybody each week individually, but I'm going to share as a team. These are the 5 values that our organization will be built off of. And you have to believe in these. If you don't believe in these, that's okay, but you can't be here because if you don't respect each other, you don't have good collaboration skills, if you don't do all these different things, right, my friend, then at that point, you're never going to align with us.
Yeah, interesting. Values are so important. It's just this higher level of some more related. It's much more than your day-to-day tasks, right? It's like higher level of, attachment to a cause, to a purpose, right? And those values are not easy to define, but some business owners are ignoring them. But they are so fundamental for company culture and for just having this North Star where the company want to go, right? So that's definitely, yeah. So thank you for sharing that. It's really, really nice. So Marcus, how did your experience in the NFL shape your approach to business?
What I learned, that's a great question. What I learned is that in business, it's like in football, it takes time to actually build the right team, the right organization. You're not going, unless you're like a rookie who comes into a team that like won a Super Bowl, like you're like a late first round pick, or you go into the later rounds, right? You get now, like, for example, anybody that gets drafted to the Chiefs right now or the Eagles, they have an opportunity to be part of something special. But again, it took a while to build that. How long were the Chiefs bad as an organization before they got to this point?
Hmm.
How long did the Eagles struggle, with their team before they got to this point as well? So basically, I learned in football, my friend, that it takes time to build something special. Just like in business, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. And that's really what happened, right? Rome wasn't built in a day. And, at the end of the day, if you're not willing to put the time in, put the work in, do all the things that are necessary, you are not going to have the type of fulfillment, the type of success that you really want to have for yourself. It's just not going to happen. So I tell people it takes time to build something special.
Yeah, I mean, it's all this team building and teamwork, and then you have the organization, which is more the processes that you implement and how people are, have visibility and understanding what they need to do, right? So all these processes and more operational systems are very, very important as well. And I know you talk a lot about authenticity, right? And so tell us what authenticity means to you. How do you practice it on a daily basis? How do you, promote it?
That's a great question. Authenticity to me is knowing who you are in the moment, knowing that the moment is going to change. And I practice it by just being authentic at every aspect of my life. I've learned how to accept me and know that I can only be me. That's it. I can't be anybody else. I don't want to be anybody else. And authenticity creates victory if you are strong enough to be real enough with yourself to let people know what's happening, what's going on. And that's a huge, huge facet. So many people want to be something or be someone else or be famous or be a superstar or all these things. Everybody has problems. And if you want to be somebody's good, like they're well known, you have to take their bad as well. So I tell people authenticity is knowing who you are in the moment, knowing that the moment is going to change. I am no longer married, so I'm not the same man I was 4 years ago when I was married and had a wife. Now I'm still a father and a dad, but a husband, I am not anymore at this time. So that's being authentic. It's being real with yourself, knowing that every situation you go through, you're going to have to evolve, pivot, change, adapt, and being okay with that. And that's authenticity at its core to me.
It seems that people need to just get deep dive into themselves, right? Try to explore what's their unique story, how they can deliver the right messaging. And truly, this is the key to differentiation, which is so important, these days. Uh, just such difficult, right, to compete. And yeah, telling your true story and understanding who you are and what's unique about you and why you're different. These are like major factors for success. Um, Marcus, I know you talk a lot and you write a lot about servant leadership, right? Tell us, what do you mean by that?
That's a great question. I just did a talk on Sunday for a group, the Young Men's Service League here in the North Carolina area, Apex, North Carolina. I used to live in Apex actually. And I told them servant leadership is serving a cause that is greater than yourself. It's serving a cause to serve others and put others' needs above yours. For example, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., great servant leader. He has a great quote too. If you haven't found anything to die for, then you really aren't living.
Hmm.
And he knew he wasn't going to be around long. He knew that, but he also knew that the work he was doing was greater than his own life. And look at that. It's like for a man to know that the work he's doing is going to cost him his life early and still did it with a badge of courage and strength. And he just knew he had bigger things to do than just himself here on this time on earth.
Mhm.
That's servant leadership. People like Rosa Parks, right? People like Gandhi, people like Nelson Mandela. These are individuals. These are people that served a cause greater than themselves. And that, my friend, is servant leadership. It's putting your ego to the side and doing the greater good for others and not worrying about yourself. And also, my friend, it is passing all of the credit and taking all of the blame.
Mhm. So how business owners can implement, servant leadership into their companies?
First thing they need to do is master active listening. Master the ability to stop talking and start listening and listen to understand. Don't listen to respond. Don't try to formulate a response to someone as you are listening to them, because then you're really not listening. Listen to somebody, do not interrupt. Do not try to have a quick retort. Don't try to have like this, pop back or fire back. Just learn how to listen, process, understand what they are saying, and then you can respond to them after you've heard them and you have processed what they are saying.
Yeah, just having this open mindset, right, for asking questions, acknowledge, and then asking more questions, acknowledge, asking more questions. So it's a process that can be learned, right? It's a skill. Anyone can do that, right? It's not. I mean, all these most of the things that we do today are, you can take help from a coach, or you can, take a course. I mean, these things can be learned, and as a leader, we have must have this continuous training and learning, and this is very important to share that these things are, when you manage this new generation of, Gen X, or this new generation of people, the employees that come into their organization, they do have this connection to higher cause, right? Whether it's a social environment they work with, climate change. I mean, they have some higher cause that is very, very important. That they give space for work, space for their family and life. And I think we have a lot of things to learn from this generation. And I know you work a lot also with, like, cross generation and helping companies just work on these different workforce varieties. Tell us more about that work.
Yeah, so I love to do consulting for organizations depending upon, I've done work in the finance industry, done consulting in the insurance industry, done consulting in the real estate industry, done consulting in the mortgage industry, done consulting in technology, manufacturing. And the key here, right, my friend, is how is the communication within the organization, internally and externally? Internally, how are you all communicating with the different systems, softwares, processes, right? It goes back to this, right, my friend? Organizations on the emotion side need to have dreams, dreams of what they want, where they want to go, how they want to help people. Dreams are absolutely necessary from the emotion perspective. On the logic side, to execute dreams or make them come to life, you have to have systems in place. If systems aren't in place, then what happens is you have mutiny or you have chaos or you have tyranny or you have struggle. And so what we love to do is help to understand where our clients have a struggle at, right? A lot of people struggle with communication, or a lot of people struggle with like the mindset, or a lot of people struggle with like how to improve leadership. A lot of people sometimes struggle with like culture or equity, belong, inclusivity. So what we do is we listen to our clients and then we put together monthly trainings. We'll do either live in person or do virtual trainings. And it all depends on what the client needs. And then we also have created the inner game community. The inner game community is a community of like-minded individuals who are out here trying to collaborate, work together, move ahead, and get things done in the perspective of helping each other grow. That's what it's all about. And I tell people constantly, if you're not collaborating, if you're not working together, if you're not trying to help build, you will burn out, because it doesn't matter how great you are, right? You can think you are the best. The human mind could do a lot of things a time, but it can't do everything, right? I'm hiring a fractional chief marketing officer to start in March. I've known her for about 7 years. She hired me to coach her, and now turned around where she's going to be. We did some coaching, like some barter coaching, and now she's going to be our fractional CMO, helping us to streamline our marketing and our sales processes, systems to achieve our dream. We've got great people doing marketing, doing some of the sales, but they're lacking streamlined structure. They're lacking someone to go to that has because Misty has over 20 years experience in marketing. And I know her, I trust her. She's not going to quote unquote do the work. She is the strategist so that the people that work with us can execute what plays she calls. And that's how it has to happen. So again, that's collaboration. That's bringing people in. That's working together. And it goes back to, well, what is the overall mission of your organization? That's going to be an emotion block. So if you have a great mission, great. On the logic side, what's the plan to make that mission come to life? So you have dreams, that's great. What's your system? Have a mission that you're going to want people to know about, get the word out, great. What's your plan? If you have a vision that you're trying to build, that's excellent. How do you utilize capital in the best form to create a vision that comes to life? So again, Eitan, every corporation that we work with, we help them improve their mindset strengthening. We help them, depending upon where they need the help, on the emotion side of the business. And we help them, depending on where they need help, on the logic side of the business.
Interesting. So it's more a work of like team building, working with the executives or with the managers themselves or with the leadership team. It's more skill set oriented, more mindset oriented, or probably all of the above, right?
It's all the above. We
Yeah.
work with top executives. We work with mid-level managers. We work with frontline workers. We've done leadership training. We've done skills training. We've done collaboration, team culture training. We've done inclusivity training. we've been very fortunate to get such a large amount of client. I mean, at Tom, we've worked for as a speaker, coach, consultant, in whatever capacity, 76 Fortune 500 companies in the last 7 or 8 years. I'm sorry, the last almost 8 years. And of those, over 20 are Fortune 100, like Intel, Home Depot, New York Life, MetLife, Liberty Mutual Insurance, Mass Mutual. We've got, Equitable. We've been very fortunate because our message of mindset, leadership, because of what I've gone through and what I've lost and what I've had to endure, it then transcends
Mhm.
into different types of businesses. And that's why our inner game community is doing so well, because we have authors, speakers, coaches, celebrities, people that are in there that have one thing. They're all trying to build their brands to take it to the next level through collaboration, teamwork, and continuity.
So you mentioned like 76 companies in the Fortune 500. It's really, really amazing. And I really want to ask you, I'm very, very interested. What have you learned from these companies? What are the major challenges, pains?
A lot of the pain, my friend, and the challenges is the communication and the expectations, where a lot of times the executives have an expectation what the team needs to do instead of having communication around what they can do and where they need help at. And I feel that's a big, big disconnect, because if an organization is okay, listen, okay, I'm listening to this book by Darren Hart, and I love this. Okay. Our input creates our thoughts. Okay. Thoughts creates our expectations. Expectations makes our creation or our creative
Beautiful.
mind. And then from creativity, it's the results that we get and or want in our life. What I've seen, a lot of people struggle with the input, right? And then the expectations. So the input that they're giving to people in their organization creates thoughts that really seem to not be or struggle or get where the executives want the team to go. So if you give people not good input, their thoughts aren't going to be what you want. They're not going to be of the highest caliber. If their thoughts are of the highest caliber, then the expectations that they have for themselves, what they can do, is not going to be so high. So it goes back to the beginning. Input. What are you giving your team constantly? This is why Tony Robbins is so amazing, or Mel Robbins, or Ed Miley, or Brendan Bouchard, or all these, Dr. Eric Thomas, right? Why? They keep inputting into people good, positivity, hope, inspiration. And what happens? Then people's thoughts get higher, get better. When you have higher thoughts and better thoughts and higher vibration, higher frequency in your mind, your expectation of what you can accomplish goes up. And then your creativity goes up, you get better results. So a lot of companies need to really focus on input. What are you giving your people through training, resources, things they can read, books, whatever, documentaries? What type of input are you giving to your people? Because what you give them to input, it all starts the whole train. The thoughts, the expectations, the creativity, the results. But if you give people bad input or none at all, expect them to go find their own input, you are literally you're rolling the dice and you're gambling. They're going to figure it out, and that's where I see a lot of people go wrong. They don't give their people great input.
Yeah. Yeah. I hear you say this and I think about communication, right? It needs to be improved. I mean, instead of this top to bottom approach, implementing this bottom up approach, just getting the feedback from everyone, trying to understand what's really happening, and come up with it, and then start the input phase one, and then further on, as you just explained. So how the success cycle and that you also talk a lot about is connected to all of that? How can people apply this to their daily lives?
We wrote a book, a best-selling book called The Success Cycle, three-step process: ambition, drive, hard work. Ambition, have goals for yourself, have aspirations, right? Have the ability to want more, input into your mind that you can do more, you can be more, you can have more. Think big and don't be afraid to fight. Don't be afraid to fight for your dreams. Don't be afraid to fight for your ambitions. Get in the game and get after it. The second thing, drive, be inspired over motivated. I did a talk not that long ago. It was on Sunday. I told these young men, if you're motivated, you will burn out. It's short term. It's not for the long term. If you want to be great, be inspired, which is breathing life, hope into someone, into a thing, into a person to go after what they want. So that's drive, right? And that's the whole process. Okay. Third thing is hard work. Don't be afraid to roll your sleeves up. Don't be afraid to get into the game. Don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, elbows dirty. I'm a former offensive lineman, right? There's a picture of me from my high school playing defensive line. As a lineman, you are going to get dirty. You're going to get, scratched up. You're going to get hit. It's like a car crash. Boom, boom, boom. That's life. That's business. If you want to have success, you have to be ambitious or have ambition. You have to be driven, and that's inspired over motivated. And you have to have a hard work mentality. Focus on yourself, not the competition, and get yourself in the game. Get in gear. Don't be afraid to fight. Don't be afraid to dream big. And don't be afraid to fail, because failure is the greatest lesson to teach you how to do better the next time around.
Interesting. And Marcus, you mentioned hiring a fractional CMO. Maybe it's a good opportunity right now. Please share with us, about the company, the type of services that you provide, because I know you're doing so many things. Let's put
Yes.
things in order.
So we are a breakthrough specialist. And what we do as our main order of business is we do keynote speaking, business coaching, business corporate consulting. I also have a podcast where people sponsor to help get their brand out. And I also do some brand work where I help people get onto podcasts or media, things of that nature. So those are the 5 things we do in that order. That's how we built our company: speaking, business coaching, business corporate consulting, again, our podcasts, and then I help people grow their brands through media, outreach, and things of that nature to help them get more exposure around their brand.
Mhm. Tell us more about the keynote speaking opportunities that you
Yeah,
do. What are the topics? What do you talk about usually?
sure. So we do a lot of things on leadership or mindset. We created a nice keynote called Thriving in the Eye of the Storm. And this keynote, we really focus on how to help people navigate through the storm. Don't run from it. Don't hide from it, because if you run from it or hide from it, it's going to catch up with you eventually. It's going to always be worse. So the bison, which I'm over here, she's over here, and that's my Howard Athletic Hall of Fame bronze bison. The bison, Eitan, is the only animal that goes into the eye of the storm.
Mm.
And they believe going into the eye of the storm, they'll get out the other end faster and be a lot more unscathed. That's the mentality we have to have as individuals for leadership, culture enhancement, sales, marketing, whatever. You gotta thrive in the storm, because life is a big storm. You're gonna have some rainbow moments. You're also gonna have a lot of cloudy moments, dark moments. And what do you have to do then? You gotta figure it out. You can't sit around and wait for somebody to come and say, hey, come save me. Nobody's coming to save you. You gotta save yourself. So we have talks on that. We have a great leadership talk. Self-absorption causes self-destruction. How to be a better leader. We have a great culture talk, recycling, company culture, because I had a trash can that was like my rock bottom moment, throwing the trash into the trash can. That trash came back on me. So that trash that came back on me, it recycled my mind to get myself to stop feeling sorry for myself, to go from victim to victor. So these are all the different types of talks that we give for our clients.
So how many years you've already been doing this?
Oh God, I've been speaking now I started speaking in September 2013 as a business. I have been speaking since 2000 when I was playing in the NFL. I would do speaking for like football programs. So I've been speaking over 25 years. And I was actually it's been about 25 years. And I would say in the business of actually starting a company, that was 2013.
Interesting. And when you started, you had a vision exactly of what exactly you want to do. What was, the journey looks like for you? It was like a step-by-step, an evolution of things. You started working with companies and then expanded. Or you had a mega plan. This is what we're going to do 20 years from now.
I just started out like anybody else at the bottom. Great quote by Rutherford B. Hayes. Every expert was once a beginner. I started telling my football clients, I would train their sons in football. I would tell clients I was trying to speak, that I wanted to grow our brand. And I got a bunch of free jobs, free work, and I got my first Fortune 500 client net app. And I did a job for them. I did not do well on that job. I got feedback, came back 6 months later, did a phenomenal job, got my first testimonial letter, and it was off to the races. So like I tell everybody, you're not going to be phenomenal, fantastic, wonderful when you start out. That's just not the way it is. But if you can stick with it, then you got something. So that's how I approach it. So in life, understand, you got to have the attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is the attitude that can change everything in your life.
Amazing. Marques, thank you so much. How people can find you?
They can follow us on our website, www.marquesogden.com, MarquesOgden. Shoot me an email, marcus@marquesogden.com, or go to follow us on our app. We have an app, the Marques Ogden app. Go to your app store, type in my name, it'll pop up. We'll be right there.
Amazing. We will share all this information in the show notes. I really appreciate the time, Marques. It was really a pleasure and so much information. Thank you so much.
Have a great day, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for listening to the end of this episode. If you found this episode valuable, please subscribe so you won't miss any of our future content. Explore Vimeo, the video commerce platform that includes live shopping, shoppable video, and social commerce capabilities. Visit Vimeo at www.vimeo.net. We appreciate your support and look forward for bringing you more valuable insight in our next episode.